Aquatics here. Alright, I get it. The last video was mid. I didn't upload for a while, but oh my fucking god, bro. The last video was mid. I didn't upload for a while, but hey, it's two-hour video. That's pretty cool, right? Like the video and subscribe, or I'm gonna disappear again. Oh yeah, before I forget, go show some love to the author. The link to the story will be in the description below. Let's get into the video. Chapter 1: Birth of a Savior. November 14th is a special day for one Naori Uchiha. She was a beauty only matched by a few in the Uchiha clan. Her purple hair reached to her waist and flowed like a calm breeze. She possessed the normal pale skin of the Uchiha clan, a pitch black eye that shined with a hidden beauty. She only possessed one eye due to going blind and her other eye from freeing her husband using Izanami. "Come on, honey, it's almost over," a male voice said from her side. This was Naka Uchiha, the husband of Naori Uchiha. He possessed gray chin-length hair and was wearing the typical attire of the Uchiha with a high-collar blue robe. He was wearing dark gray pants and black ninja sandals. I'm trying," Naori gritted out. She was currently giving birth to their son. You can't. I thought they were like going out or something and he was telling her to hurry up. You can't just hurry up giving birth. She had done many things and many other impossible things, even like fighting a Biju, but giving birth, this was something new and painful. "I see ahead, you're almost there," an Uchiha doctor said. "Okay, honey, let's go and we can hold our child," Naka said, giving his wife's hand a squeeze. He looked at her and smiled. A small part of him still couldn't believe that he had married this woman, and after all the pain he put her through. Naori smiled back and nodded in determination. She was ready. Okay. The woman then began to push until she was able to see her beautiful child. Naori began to see a small tuft of black hair and doubled her efforts. The doctor grabbed and held him. He quickly went over to the female nurse for help. She cut the umbilical cord and they grabbed the towel and wiped the baby off. They looked at the baby, who was not crying and simply just laying in the doctor's arms. The male doctor, seeing something may be wrong with the baby, gently slapped his chest. He was not expecting for the baby to swing his small hands and slap him in the face. "That's my son." Naka grabbed his son from the shocked doctor and brought him over to his wife so she could hold him. "Hey, sweet thing." Naori cuddled her son, who seemed to snuggle into her. The baby then opened his eyes to his parents, showing them he had eyes black as the night with dark hair that had a hint of purple in it from Naori and seemed to have the face of his father, Naka. "Aw, he's so handsome." Naori rubbed her face on Naruto, making him let out a small gurgle that sounded like a laugh. "He looks like me, but with your hair. I can see it now. He will be a lady killer when he gets older," Naka said, and poked the baby. Naori sent a slight glare at Naka. "My son will be a proper gentleman. I won't let these girls get my son." Every time I hear gentleman now, like, Reddit has ruined this for me. I think of some dorky kid in his mom's basement with a freaking fedora on. I don't know why, it's just, the word is just ruined for me. "You mean our son, Naruto," Naka said, and brought them all into a hug. Naori blushed while smiling. "Yes, our little maelstrom." Okay, so I asked what maelstrom meant a year and a half ago, and I still get comments about people saying what it means, and I have still forgotten, so I'm gonna Google this so you guys don't have to spam it in the comment section for the next year and a half. Alright, apparently it's maelstrom, and it means a powerful whirlpool in the sea or river. You can't blame me for not knowing that. Like, that, who uses that word in an everyday use? Like, that's in everyday conversation. That's so out there. "I hope you will make things better around here." The beautiful family moment was interrupted when they heard Naruto's stomach grumble. "Guess he's hungry." Since the doctor and nurse left, the door Naori opened. Alright, let's go on. I prefer not to describe this. Some time went by and Naruto was still at it. Wow, must have been really hungry, Naka said while watching his son who had been eating for 2 minutes straight. That's not that long. I don't know actually, I haven't raised a baby. A nod came from the door. Naka went over and opened it, seeing none other than the clan leader and his family. They were close friends. Hello, Fugaku and Mikoto, Naka said, with a small smile on his face. This was one of his closest friends, but the relationship had been falling apart ever since the Nine-Tails attack. They started to see things differently and even had small arguments from now and then, but I don't think that makes sense, so I'll say small arguments here and there. Hello, Naka-sama. A small boy. I'm not doing the Sama thing. Hello, Naka. A small boy holding a bundle in his arms said. This was Itachi, who was holding his younger sister, Satsuki Uchiha. I don't like where this is going. Please don't be the ship. Sup, little man. I've heard a lot about you. Naka spoke to the young rising star Itachi. Yes, he is very talented, and will do great things for the clan, Fugaku said and patted Itachi on the shoulder. Naka noticed a small and almost unnoticeable frown on Itachi's face. Is Naori okay? The doctor left, so we guessed everything was good, Mikoto asked, with barely contained excitement. Yes, everything worked out just fine, Naka said with his own smile and let the family in, more like Mikoto let herself in. Hey, Mikoto, Naori said with a smile. Naruto had finally let up and let out a big burp, making the two women laugh. Aw, he's cute. Can I hold him? Mikoto asked. Naori laughed at the all-powerful Mikoto acting like a little girl in front of her son. Mikoto held Naruto in her arms and rocked him back and forth while making baby noises at him. Naruto opened his eyes and gazed at Mikoto as if he was searching her soul. He closed his eyes and allowed Mikoto to keep holding him. Over the other side of the room, Fugaku and Naka were talking. Things aren't looking good. We're being blamed for the Nine-Tails attack. They said there was a Sharingan in its eye, Fugaku said with a blank face. Naka only slightly widened his eyes. He also had a blank face, giving nothing away like his friend. That's complete BS. The only ones who could put the Nine-Tails under a genjutsu would be me, and I would never do something so stupid when I'm about to start a family. I know, Naka, but the village council keeps bringing you up and pushing us further out of the village. We can't even walk in the village without people talking behind our backs or pointing fingers. Fugaku clenched his fist at the disrespect to his clan. After everything they did for the village, this is how they treat us. Naka placed a hand on his shoulder. Keep calm. Now is not the time for us to blow a casket. We will simply think of another way to solve this and gain our respect back in this village. Fugaku sent a nod of appreciation to Naka. I didn't come here to brainstorm ways to earn our respect back. We have come to congratulate you on becoming a father. The clan head brought Naka into a manly hug of respect. A manly hug. Alright man, whatever. Thank you, Fugaku, Naka said with gratitude, returning the hug to his old friend. Itachi tried his best to listen to the conversation, but they were quiet, and if he tried any harder to listen into the conversation, he would possibly be compromised and punished by his father. Itachi, come look at the baby, his mother called, and he went over to see the baby of his friend's mother. Itachi walked over to see his mother holding young Naruto, who looked comfortable. Naruto looked at Itachi with his black eyes and seemed to squirm away from him as if he didn't want to be close to the young Uchiha. Mikoto, seeing this, only giggled in her free hand. It seems that he doesn't like you, Itachi. Naka came and took his son. Don't worry, Itachi. He doesn't know better right now. Maybe when he gets older, he'll play with you. Itachi only nodded at what Naka said and went to stand by his father's side. Naruto then extended his arms to his mother, Naori. Naka, seeing this, gave him to her and watched a happy smile come across Naruto's face. The baby then began to play with Naori's purple hair. He ran his chubby little fingers in her hair and pulled it a little. Upon doing this, he noticed a wide eye on the left side of his mother's face. Being a baby, he seemed to not pay attention to it, although his father saw Naruto looking at it and frowned. It was his biggest regret in life. If only he had seen reality sooner and not chased after a false dream. Mikoto, seeing that they spent enough time here, decided it was time to leave. Okay, let's allow the new family to rest. Fugaku and Itachi rose from their seats and walked over to the front door. They didn't want to listen to their wife/mother make any more baby sounds. Other family gave them one more goodbye before leaving. Enjoy it while it lasts, Naka. Things will only get worse from here. These were the final thoughts of Fugaku, the clan head of the Uchiha. He hoped that his clan could make it through this time of struggle. 6 years later, Naruto Uchiha stood outside covered in sweat. This was not new to him. He would come outside and train for most of the day with his father or mother. Today was physical conditioning and he had just got done with a 3K run and 300 push-ups, sit-ups, and squats. Normally a young boy wouldn't be able to do this, but since he used Chakra in order to enhance his body, he was able to push it a little further. His father Naka Uchiha had told him it was important to have a strong body in order to excel in the ninja world. It was the base of all ninja foundations, whether it be ninjutsu, taijutsu, or genjutsu. If your body wasn't strong enough, you wouldn't be able to succeed. So, he practiced his hand-to-hand religiously. There wasn't a single kid his age in the clan that could beat him. 298, 299, and 300. Naruto finished with a strong right hand to the poor training post that looked like as if it had just been jumped, but all the damage was done by one person, a boy at that. Naruto pulled up his shirt to wipe his sweat off his face. Naruto looked at the damaged post and smirked. "Thanks for hanging in there, buddy," Naruto said, looking at the post in front of him. Woody. He had just thought of that name. Naruto, the mentioned boy, turned his head to see his father, looking at him from the porch of the backyard. Naruto was in a training field they owned in the back of their compound. In the clan, they weren't dang near royalty. "Your mom wants you." Naruto nodded and drank some water before running off to his father. "How was your day today, Dad?" Naruto looked at his father with an almost searching look. He was smart for his age, and even was called a genius. The young midnight-haired boy was not ignorant to the way his clan was looked at in the village. He knew his father would have meetings with the clan head and village leader, who often visited the compound. Naka simply smirked and put his arms around his younger son, and walked into the house. "Nothing for you to worry about, short stack." Naruto's eyebrow twitched just a little bit, but his father saw it. The young child tried to stay calm in situations like this, in order to not give gas to his father's fire of teasing him. "I simply talked to Fugaku and the Hokage about some future dealings." Naka's grip on Naruto's shoulder tightened just slightly. They walked to the living room where his mother was. He saw her talking to a young boy who had messy black hair and a playful look on his face. In his lap was a girl about his age who looked like the older boy except from a more feminine look to her short black hair. This was Shisui Uchiha and Mira Uchiha. I don't like where this one's going either. Why are there so many female OCs added? I mean, that's cool, but where is this going to go? Two siblings and friends of Naruto. Mira saw him first. "Naruto!" The girl jumped off her brother's lap and ran into Naruto's arm, wrapped him in a big hug, ignoring the fact that he was wet and sweaty. Naruto had a small discomfort on his face and patted her on the back and pushed her off, making the girl pout. "I wanted a hug, not a back rub." "I don't know what you're talking about." "That was a hug," Naruto said with a crossed arm. Mira, seeing this, opened her arms again and walked closer to Naruto, making the boy take a step back. She pounced on him and brought him into another hug. "If only I wasn't so tired. I could have gotten away," Naruto sighed in his head. He would give the girl what she wanted. The young Naruto wrapped his arm around the girl, making Mira smile in joy. Mira pulled away and smiled. "See, was that so hard?" "It was incredibly hard," Naruto said sarcastically. This caused him to duck a smack to the head. He smirked. "You remember I beat you last time in our spar. Sure you want to go at it again?" Mira would have said more if it wasn't for someone appearing behind Naruto and giving him a noogie. "You bullying my sister, little man?" Shisui messed up Naruto's purple tinted hair. The boy freed himself and fixed his short spiky hair. He fixed his high collar black Uchiha shirt and patted down his gray loose pants. Naruto walked over to his mom and sat next to her. "You didn't invite him over, did you?" Naruto pointed at Shisui. Narori brought the young boy into her lap and brought him into her chest. This made Naruto blush from embarrassment and caused Shisui to laugh at him. Knock it off." He tried to wiggle out of her grasp, but he couldn't. She was still too strong for him. Although his mother was retired from the ninja life, she still trained just like she wasn't. Naori would often spar with her husband like they used to. "What are you talking about?" Naori said in a false, oblivious tone. This caused Mira to giggle at Naruto. Her son looked at her with his one Tomoe Sharingan in both eyes. "Alright, buddy. That's a little questionable, but whatever. When did that happen?" He had received this when he was training one day, and a little too intense training along with anger later, he awakened the famous eye of the clan. That's a half-ass. Whatever. I've seen worse, so it's fine. Naruto looked at his mother, who had her long wavy purple hair covering half of her face, only showing her one good eye. Although she had one good eye, he could never catch her from the blind spot. "You're embarrassing me," Naruto said, and looked for his dad, who was chuckling silently. Naruto sent the man a glare, but it didn't do anything with his red cheeks and only caused Naka to burst out into laughter. "Alright, honey. I think you've shamed our son long enough." Naori allowed Naruto to get up. He huffed and walked outside the house, leaving his mother to chuckle along with Shisui and Naka. Mira followed Naruto outside the house. Naori stopped and only looked at the back of her son with loving eyes. His Uchiha crest showed proudly in the bright rays of the sun. He would go on to do great things. That she was sure of. She would be there to support him in any way he needed. Naruto was making his way through the Uchiha district. Alongside him was Mira. "You don't have to come with me, you know?" Naruto turned his head to look at Mira with his coal black eyes. Mira only smiled back. "Oh, I know, but where are we going anyways?" "I'm going to the village so I can look at weapons in the shop." They had to leave the Uchiha compound just to go into the village they helped found. Kicked out of their own village. Ridiculous. They bled, sweat, and cried over the village. I'm not sure that's how you're supposed to put it. And this is how they were thanked. Well, I'll come too," Mira said, and grabbed his arm. Naruto wiggled his arm out of her grasp and just continued to walk with Mira at his side. "Why are you looking at weapons anyways?" Naruto turned and gave her a smirk. "So I can get stronger. I need a weapon to help my... why'd I say that like that? To help me branch my skills out. Most Uchiha only stuck to Jutsu and Genjutsu, and used little tantos. He wanted to be different and become the strongest Uchiha since Madara. Yes, he had read up on the man, and one of his idols after his dad, of course. A weapon? We're only 6, Mira said in surprise. Why did he need a weapon at such a young age? Naruto turned and gave her a stern gaze. In this ninja world, if you want to survive, you need power. Our clan possesses the strongest ninja. I wish to bring great pride to my clan and parents, and in the process become the strongest, Naruto said with a clenched fist and a smile. His dream was to one day lead the Uchiha clan and become the strongest Uchiha. Mira, seeing her friend's determination, also thought about what she was training for. Initially, she was only training because her brother was strong and she wanted to be strong like him, but then she met Naruto, who her brother visited when her brother visited Naori's house. Now seeing Naruto had such big goals, she wanted to help him and stand by his side. I'll get strong to help you, Naruto. In any way she could. That's a big dream. An emotionless voice behind them spoke up. Naruto kept walking, already knowing who it was and not really liking the person. Mira, however, turned and waved at the person. Hey there, Itachi. The now named Itachi Uchiha looked down and smiled at the girl. Hello, Mira. How are you today? Great, I'm going with Naruto to find a weapon. Itachi raised an eyebrow. A weapon? Yeah, Naruto says he needs help branching out from the clan ways a little bit. Mira told Itachi what Naruto just said. Naruto in the distance turned and looked at both of them. Naruto gazed at Itachi. He never really liked that guy. Naruto was aware of how talented he was in the ninja arts, and gave his props because he indeed was talented. However, during his troubling period for the Uchiha, he noticed how Itachi seemed to be at the center of it all. That meant whatever happened to the Uchiha clan would depend on Itachi, who was an Anbu of the village, and no doubt had extreme loyalty to it. Itachi looked back towards Naruto, trying to figure out the young boy who seemed to hold some kind of distrust towards him. Ever since a young age, Itachi could never get close to the boy who seemed to have a lot of respect from the other Uchihas of their clan. He had heard when Naruto activated his Sharingan at such a young age, the clan seemed to act as if Naruto just created the sun and called him a prodigy. He didn't even know how the heck Naruto did this at such a young age. He had to see his friends die and Naruto just trained and experienced intense emotions. He must have been in a really high emotional state, or his dad took it too far with his training, and he would bet on that later. And he would bet on the latter. Mira, come on, or the shop will close. Naruto shouted to the young girl. See ya, Itachi. Gotta go get stronger. Mira then ran to Naruto, leaving Itachi to himself. Naruto Uchiha. What does the future hold? I wonder what will become of you. Itachi then left in a flutter of crows, but not before catching the backward glance of Naruto. Along the way to the weapon shop, Naruto received bows and greetings from the people. Old and new, they all respected him for who he was. He responded to all of them, while some of the more hostile Uchihas only scoffed or ignored the spiky-haired boy. Naruto and Mira made it inside the Leaf Village and were making their way to the ninja tool shop. Unlike in the compound, they were treated with disdain and scornful looks. They heard mutters behind their back calling them traitors to the village. Mira was getting uncomfortable and hid behind Naruto a little and grabbed his hands for comfort. Naruto, seeing this, activated his Sharingan and glared at the civilians, causing them to back off. He held Mira's hand tighter and picked up his speed so they could get out of this place. Despite the situation, Mira blushed at how Naruto was holding her hand and protecting her. It was just like in the princess stories. Please, let's not do the corny ship stuff. I like this story. This seems really well written. Whatever. Next thing, he would pick her up in his arms and... Alright, bro. Alright, let's move on. Plus, I need to focus on getting stronger now. I want to be a strong Kunoichi like Naori. We're here. Naruto's words brought her out of her thoughts and made her look at the shop they were standing in front of. It was called Leaf Weaponry. This is a big shop, Mira said in a childish awe. Naruto gave her a smirk while still holding her hand. That means they have a lot of weapons to choose from. Naruto walked into the store and finally let go of Mira's hand, much to her disappointment. A bell sounded alerting the shopkeeper to their presence. Welcome to the... He stopped when he noticed it was little kids and Uchiha kids. Out of my store, no kids allowed. The grizzly man from behind the desk said, motioning them to leave. What? There's no sign for that, Mira shouted, while Naruto stayed calm and started to look around, ignoring the fool. Well, I am telling you to leave, the shopkeeper said, getting angry. What's your problem? Naruto asked in a calm tone, with his back to the man, allowing him to see his Uchiha fan in a full detail. My problem is that I have kids in my weapon shop. This is a ninja village. I'm sure you have kids coming here all the time. So what is so different about us coming in here? Naruto said, I'm picking up a regular katana. He waved Mira over. Look, Mira, do you like these? Naruto showed her the other swords on the wall. Ooh, that's a nice one. She grabbed the 16-inch short sword. The girl gave it a couple swings and lunges. Get out of here, you brats. The man came from behind his desk with a broom and tried to push them out. Naruto pulled Mira away and stood in front of her protectively. He looked towards the shelf where he saw a bunch of other weapons on display. He then got an idea. If that's how he wants to be, then I'll be a little petty. Naruto pushed the shelf over, knocking all the weapons down to the floor in a giant mess, and dashed out the store, followed by Mira. They laughed and ran back to the compound before he could call someone and get them in trouble. Okay, Naruto, that was fun, but I need to get going now. It's getting late. Mira gave Naruto a hug, which he returned for once. Alright, Mira, I'll see you some other time. Mira gave one last wave and smiled and ran off to the direction of her house. Naruto was about to go home as well, but being just outside the compound, he would explore a little and maybe get some training in before he left. Naruto ran around the forest of the Leaf Village all by himself. The sun started to go down, casting an orange glow on the forest and village. He was using this time to boost his stamina and leg strength. He would often throw punches or kicks and act like he was hitting an enemy. He jumped over a giant tree and landed on the ground, but it sounded a little weird. Naruto looked down and stumped his feet on the ground a couple of times. He looked over to the tree that seemed to have a hollowed out section in it. So being curious, he walked inside the place and looked down to see a hatch with an Uchiha symbol on it. Naruto pulled the latch off and moved it to the side, which revealed a ladder that went down into a hole of darkness. A little off-put by the dark hole in the ground, he hesitated for a second. However, if he wanted to become stronger, he couldn't run away from his fears, so he manned up and climbed down the ladder. Naruto landed on his feet and heard the sound echo around him. An echo. That means this area is big and hollow. Naruto walked around and watched his steps. He didn't want to trip and land on a pointy item. He felt his hand rest on something. Moving his hand around, he felt what seemed to be a paper. Why is there paper down here? Naruto then felt a pull on his chakra system. Naruto then saw as light appeared in the room. All along the wall, torches blazed to life, birthing life to the room. Naruto was in what looked like an underground cave with a bed made from wood and had sheets on top sitting in the middle. He could see a table with one chair and weapons along with clothes and food along with other supplies. Naruto walked over to the table where he saw a journal. He ran his fingers on the cover and had wiped off a little dust that was on his finger. He saw the names on the front and it made him gasp. Madara, Uchiha. Naruto then looked at the weapons along the wall again. He would see multiple red armor sets along with different gunbai and scythes. These were famous weapons used by Madara Uchiha. There were swords, daggers, and kunais down here. It was like a vault. Looks to be a hideout. Naruto then turned his attention back to the book on the table. He sat in the chair and opened the first page. I am Madara Uchiha, the leader of the great Uchiha. This is my first entry about the journey I hope to take. It was that idiot Senju who told me to do this, saying I wouldn't be so uptight if I wrote my feelings down. I hit him with a nice fire jutsu for the comment. Too bad he healed from it. If I had healing abilities like that, I would be unstoppable. Maybe I should bite a piece of his body off in our next fight and bring it into my base for development. All jokes aside, all jokes. Today we battled the Hyuga for their land. The clan also possesses a special dojutsu, but it is nothing compared to the might of the Sharingan. They mainly use hand-to-hand sticking to palm thrusts and finger jabs, deadly at close range, especially that clan head of theirs. His name was Eren Hyuga. He danced well, but once I figured out how their gentle steps worked, it was child's play. We also lost some good Uchiha today, and I pray that they rest easy knowing we succeeded in our battle. We showed no mercy to the enemies like it should be. Compassion and loyalty to my clan. I will be learning how to use a scythe today for future battles. I don't see anyone using it, and it looks... Madara would not say that. No, we're not doing that. I will write down my sword style along with fighting style. This will be all for today. It seems the Uchiha woman need a man to... Hey, yo. Nah. You are tweaking. Remember, a leader must take charge and lead with courage and power. Madara Uchiha. Whoa. Those were the only words Naruto could say at that moment. To think he stumbled upon the lair of Madara Uchiha. He flipped through the journal and saw it was filled with entries and jutsu along with fighting styles of all kinds. He stopped. In this first entry, Madara seemed like a somewhat decent person. How did he go from leading the clan to being labeled a traitor and wanting to destroy the village he created? This must explain how he became what he is today. Naruto looked at the jutsu and styles on the other pages. He would use what he had now in order to become strong and make the clan great once again. He got up from his seat and walked back to the paper on the wall. He guessed it was some kind of seal. Naruto watched as all of the light left the cave once again, bathing in darkness. He climbed up the ladder and returned home to his family. Not wanting to be under his mother's angry gaze, he picked up his pace in order to not be too late, even though it was already nighttime. Chapter 2. Plans in Motion. Naruto was walking down a pier along with his father, Naka Uchiha. It was a couple of days after he had found Madara's hideout. He decided he would keep it to himself and make it his training spot. Naruto had begun to practice with one of the scythes and gunbai Madara had. It was really hard. The weapons were heavy and he had a hard time bringing the right amount of force needed for some of the moves. It was good training though, and he wouldn't quit just because things got hard. That was not the Uchiha way. He wanted to ask his parents for help on using the weapons, but figured it would be no good since they only used swords. It was a good thing Madara had notes on how to use the weapons, or he would really be in deep waters. The scythe was not like a katana that had grace and beauty. The scythe was meant to reap and cause destruction. The gunbai, however, could be used for everything. He would block with devastating power, bring forth massive wind blasts, and most importantly, reflect attacks. He could not do it yet, so he decided to work on his swordsmanship first, which meant he would work on using katanas first, which meant he would be asking his father and mother for sword training. Alright Naruto, this is simple. Naruto paid attention to his dad, who was on the pier and looking at him with a smirk. Pay attention. This is the Uchiha Trail of Fire. Naka then went through hand signs slow enough for his son to keep up with. Naka then shot a decent fireball over the lake. Naruto looked on at his father with amazement. This was his first time seeing his father use such a high-ranked jutsu. He had watched Naka spar with his mother, but it was more like listening because he could never see them even with his Sharingan activated. Think you could do that? Naka gave his son a challenging smirk. Naruto didn't give him a reply and simply walked up and did the same hand signs his dad did with just as much ease and finesse. Naruto channeled the chakra in his lungs and brought out to the surface, molding the chakra into hot flames. The boy released a massive fireball on the lake that was so hot Naka could feel the heat from where he was standing. The fireball evaporated part of the lake, causing it to shrink in size. Naruto looked on with shock on his face and blinked a couple of times to make sure he was not in some kind of dream. His son just shot a fireball bigger than his own. He turned to Naruto, who didn't even look tired and could still keep going. The man's shoulder then began to shake. Naka then started to laugh, causing Naruto to look at him with a weird raised eyebrow. Way to go, you did that on your first try. Naka ruffled Naruto's hair and grinned down at the boy. Naruto only smiled with pride and joy in himself. It seemed as if all his training was paying off, and he would only go stronger from here. That was the goal after all, become strong. I don't think even Itachi got it in his first run. The father and son were so focused on their recent achievement that they didn't notice eyes on them. Itachi was with his younger sister Satsuki. Oh, that's an L for Sasuke, man. Who had just witnessed the whole thing. The young girl had gotten stars in her eyes and had an excited look on her face. Big brother, that was cool. How did he do that? I want to do that and be just like him. Satsuki spoke with excitement. Everyone in the clan knew who Naruto was. It was no secret there was another Uchiha prodigy on the rise. Itachi, however, was not as excited as his sister. I was bigger than my fireball when I first tried. Not to mention the boy's still growing and has a good head on his shoulder. He then looked down to his sister, who seemed to admire the young Uchiha. I don't want her to be close to someone who clearly doesn't like me and has extreme loyalty to the clan at times like these. Itachi patted Satsuki on the head, gaining the young girl's attention. Are you going to teach me that? God dang it. Satsuki asked, giving Itachi the puppy dog eyes. I can teach you that, and so much more. Just don't hang around him too much. Itachi started with a smile but finished with a serious look towards his younger sister. Okay, Satsuki replied with a little hesitation in her tone at the mood swing of her brother. Itachi, seeing his sister was a bit taken up, decided he would make it up to her. Giving her the famous finger poke to the head, to the head, she blushed and grabbed her forehead. He smiled down at her. Come on, let's go home and do some training. Itachi walked up with his sister on his back, and Naruto, along with Naka, also went home to do some sword training for Naruto. None of them noticed the Anbu in the trees. It was a male with a blank white mask. I'll report this to Danzo. He would like to know about such a child. Naruto was walking back to his house with his father next to him. They waved and smiled at the Uchihas greeting them. It was all smiles and how handsome the young Naruto looked. It was a difference from how he was talked about in the Hidden Leaf Village. He was sent glares, cursed at, and spat on, but only to his back. The young Uchiha girls around his age blushed and waved shyly towards him. He would only look at them with an uninterested gaze and look the other way. Naruto was ignoring them, but it only seemed to make them more interested. Naka, seeing this, only chuckled at his son's antics. It seemed that even the great Uchiha clan, there were fangirls. Naruto looked at his dad with a raised eyebrow. Naruto was then stopped when one of the Uchiha boys ran up to him. He looked like the normal Uchiha with pale skin with black hair and eyes. Naruto, are you gonna be in the tournament later today? Naruto only smirked at the boy. Is that really a question? You should be ashamed of yourself, Naruto said coolly and walked off. All the girls said, never mind, man. Whatever. So you wanna participate in this tournament? I guess you will have to get some training in, won't you? Naka looked down at his son with a smirk, which Naruto returned. Yeah. And I was going to ask you and Mom for help on sword practice, Naruto stated. Oh, now you want to use swords? Yeah, eventually I'd like to be able to use a scythe like Madara. I tried to use one of those things, and let me say, it's hard. It may look cool, but it's not cool when you almost cut your head off. Well, I'll just have to be better than you, won't I? Naruto said with a challenging smirk on his face. You brat. Naka put Naruto in a headlock and hit him on the head. You'll never surpass your awesome father. Just you wait, old man, Naruto shouted, losing his temper and getting ready to throw down in the middle of the street with his father. Naka got a tick mark on his head. It seemed he needed to teach his son a lesson in manners. Right before he could get into it, an Uchiha from the police force appeared and whispered into his ear. Naruto witnessed his dad's face go from joking to serious in a matter of seconds. He wondered what made his dad so tense like this. If he had to guess, it had something to do with the clan. Sorry, Naruto, but I have to attend the meeting with the clan and its elders. His look turned apologetic. Ask your mother if she can teach you. Naka then left in a body flicker with the Uchiha to the meeting point. Naruto looked down in sadness. He quickly got a hold of his emotions and started to walk off. I need to figure out what is going on, but I don't know where they're meeting. Naruto then searched his thoughts for where they might be gathering. He went through all possibilities, all historical landmarks in the compound until he remembered something in Madara's journal. He snapped his fingers and quickly headed off. They're at the Uchiha tablet. Naruto put his hands in a ram sign for the body flicker. He learned it from... Okay. Alright, buddy. Alright. Let's teach the 6-year-old a Jonin rank jutsu. Cool. He learned it from Shisui. Not having practiced it much, he had to use a lot of focus and chakra to really get moving like Shisui. Naruto then left burning the ground in his wake, not knowing he used fire on a subconscious level. Naruto appeared outside in the forest area. He had to wait a minute to catch his breath. He would be good after that in a matter of seconds. Naruto began to walk in the forest until he found what he was looking for. Nakano Shrine. It was a place that Uchiha would go to have meetings and even give birth in hopes of having a blessed child. He then saw the place he was looking for. The shrine looked as if it was made yesterday with how clean it was. Not even a hint of dust on it. Naruto did his presence as much as he could for someone his age. He snuck into the building and found himself in a room with placemats all over the place. He activated his Sharingan and scanned the room looking for the hidden entrance. He found the mat and silently moved it and crawled down into the entrance. He could see a good part of the clan, men and women, even Shisui. Fugaku was standing at the front of the room with crossed arms and listening to the complaints of the clan. Fugaku then opened his eyes, revealing his 3 Tomoe Sharingan and silenced everyone in the room with just a look. I know how we're being treated and it sickens me to the core. We have given so much for this village, but time and time again we were denied our achievements. The clan members began to murmur and in anger to each other. It stopped when the clan head spoke again. I spoke with the Hokage today. He said that him and the council were trying to find a way to figure this all out. But to me it just sounds like an excuse. He's been saying that for years, allowing the elders and civilians to push him around. He needs to just give us what was taken from us. The clan roared in agreement. Fugaku then closed his eyes and again opened them once again, allowing his Mangekyo Sharingan to flare to life. We will just take it back ourselves. Naruto widened his eyes in shock at what he just heard. A revolution against the village was sure to get them all, toaster bathed. This would spark a civil war in the village, causing them to die useless deaths. He can't allow that to happen. He wouldn't. Naka snapped his head towards his friend with wide eyes. What was he talking about? Take it themselves. Did he not understand the words he just said? Oi, you don't mean fighting against the leaf, do you? That's exactly what I mean. We have suffered under their rule for too long. They won't even let us in the dang village anymore without being watched. Fugaku looked back at his friend with a stern look on his face. There was no backing down from this now. Think of something so crazy. What will we tell the Hokage now? I could reveal my Mangekyo ability, but that means Danzo rubs... But that man Danzo rubs me the wrong way, not to mention how the Hokage seem to not care about their problems. Makes me wonder why I should go against my clan when we have done nothing wrong. This were the thoughts of Shisui Uchiha, who had been spying on the clan along with the village to make sure nothing like this would happen. Foolish. Everyone stopped what they were doing when they heard the shout. They looked behind them to the entrance to see Naruto walking from the back of the room. Naruto? Naka muttered. What are you doing here, boy? Uchiha shouted, pointing a finger at Naruto, only to recoil from the heated glare he received from the boy who had his Sharingan. Although he was a child, he surprisingly could release a good amount of killing intent. What is wrong with you? A revolt against the Hidden Leaf Village. Not only will that fail, it will get us all killed. Naruto raged at all of them with his red eyes beaming in the fire-lit room. The clan members were silent at the moment. To be getting yelled at by a child hurt their pride, even if he was a royal child of the clan. Our clan is already low on numbers due to the last war, and high-rank missions we keep getting sent on, which, if you didn't know, were suicide missions. That's enough. Fugaku tried to place a hand on Naruto's shoulder and take control of the room back. And you, how could you even think of something like that? You are the clan head, the strongest of us. You help us You help us thrive, not plummet, especially in times like this. Yet you say we should revolt against the leaf? Naruto smacked Fugaku's hand away, making the man widen his eyes at the anger being directed towards him. Do you really think we can defeat the strongest village along with the strongest Hokage? You can't even defeat the Hokage, so how would you even expect us to beat him along with the rest of the village? Questioned Naruto. Fugaku stayed silent, actually taking the time to think about how they would even execute such a plan. Naruto was right. He wasn't strong enough to beat the Hokage, and the members of his clan were lacking in numbers. But they had to do something, or they would suffer until the village decided they had enough and killed them all in their sleep. You clearly didn't think all of this through. I have a better idea, Naruto said, gaining everyone's attention. If they want us out of the village that badly, why don't we just leave? Many gasped at his statement. Naka, Shisui, and Fugaku looked at Naruto with wide eyes. The thought of leaving not even crossing their mind. And where would we go? A female Uchiha asked, standing up. She did not want to fight the Leaf Village because she knew dang well that it would not work and they would only suffer from the action. Naruto had his eyes closed and thought. This was a big moment for him and the clan. They were not outright rejecting his answer, which meant not all of them wanted to fight the village to regain respect of those who would rather see them dead. He then remembered the state of the world right now. The stone was recovering from the last war. The cloud was not on good terms with the leaf due to what happened with the Hyuga. The leaf was suffering from internal conflict, and last was the Mist Village. They were in civil war in a civil war that had been going on for a couple of years now, and was completely blocked off from the rest of the world. The answer then came to him. We will go to the Hidden Mist Village. Naruto stated simply. Once again, the Uchihas were shocked. Out of all places to have picked, the Mist Village was already in a civil war. Was just crazy, but compared to what they were about to do, would Cloud really be that much different? Oh, could it really be that much different? I know what you're thinking, and yes, it is a wild idea, but think about it. If we go to the Mist Village, we can help the Bloodline users and take charge. If we show up, not only the people be in our debt, but we can also lead the village once everything is over. Genius. To think of such a plan at a young age, Shisui thought in amazement towards Naruto. You think the Leaf will just let us leave? That is exactly what I was thinking. I was like, this is cool and all, but I don't think the Leaf's gonna let that slide. Fugaku asked, a bit interested in Naruto's plan. What are they gonna do? Hunt us down? No hunter ninja in this village is strong enough to take us down. It would take the Hokage and some of his top ninja to bring us down, and even then the Leaf would suffer major losses, making them even weaker. Naruto replied with a proud smirk. Whether it was in his clan's strength or the fact he came up with such a good plan. What about the other villages? They will surely come after us. Another Uchiha asked, getting to his feet. The other villages are in no position to make such moves against us. It will be a clear shot to the Mist Village, and all we would have to worry about are Anbu forces and spies, Naruto said, narrowing his eyes around the room with a piercing gaze. What do you mean, spies? Are you saying someone in here is a traitor? Fugaku asked with a serious tone. This was something he had been thinking about for a long time, and he had a feeling he already knew who it was, or maybe he knew but just didn't want to believe it. Yes, I already suspected to be someone, but I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. Naruto casted Fugaku a look that said it all. It made his heart sink to think about it. Not him. Dang, to think Naruto would suspect Itachi, and it seemed like his father already knew this whole time but still invited him into the meetings. Should I tell him about this or not? I will keep it to myself. Shisui put his head down in the back of the room in deep thought. Because his head was down, he didn't notice the intense look he was receiving from Naruto. So it seems he was in on it as well, but he seems to not be fully committed. Naruto liked that. As much as Shisui got on his nerves, he was still family and a close friend, not to mention the brother of Mira. Naruto then looked around the people gathered. They filled up the whole underground hideout. There was about 70 members down here, and they were all very powerful, still not enough to fight a whole village. They seemed to not be behind me fully. It could be because I'm a child and don't hold any real power. Naruto clenched his fist. Again, the lack of power crept into his mind. Naruto knew he had to get stronger and earn the clan's respect, and the tournament later would be the perfect place for that. He just needed to be careful, or this greed for power would overcome him like his father told him. Naka still regretted what he had done for power till this day, and was reminded of it every time he saw his wife's one good eye. Naruto walked back to the exit, and the Uchihas created a path for the young boy. They had their heads bowed just the slightest, not even realizing they were doing this. Fugaku looked on with surprise at the young boy. The boy had come here and shook the place to its core, and hammered away some good points which he would have to think about. Naka looked at his son with pride. He was turning into quite the shinobi and would no doubt make his family proud. He would make sure his son thrived in this world. Naruto walked back to his house in deep thought. The things he discovered just now were actually mind-blowing. He felt anger at his clan for thinking of such a stupid plan, confusion at why the village would push them so far that it would come to this. He then felt resolute that he needed to save his clan from such destruction. After going through the notes of Madara, he also found a dislike for the Senju. It was for different reasons though. He disliked the Senju because they were being oppressed by the teachings of the Senju. This was what Madara warned his clan about. Naruto had read a little further in the journal of Madara in the search of looking for some techniques. He found life lessons and ways to improve the Sharingan. Naruto decided that when they moved into the next village, they would have to lead the village. He would take time to think over this matter once more. Putting those thoughts aside, Naruto opened the sliding door to his house and immediately went to the back. Not even bothering to take off his shoes, he simply went to the back. "Hey son," Naori greeted her son with the same loving smile she always gave him. She was surprised when he didn't even answer and just went outside. "What's up with them?" Naori got up from her seat and walked to the backyard and saw Naruto knee deep in training. He was going through katas from the interceptor fist. It was most effective when the Sharingan was activated and you simply predicted the moves of the opponent. Naruto didn't have his Sharingan activated and simply wanted to master the style with the eyes first. So when he did activate the Sharingan, it would be impossible to get the upper hand on him. He did have the Sharingan though, but why does he want to fight people without it? I took a fat nap between recording these parts, so I don't know, maybe I'm tripping. Naruto would also train his one Tomoe Sharingan to the max, wanting to get the most potential out of it. He trained it to the point where the eye would forcibly be deactivated from lack of chakra. Naruto then went through hand signs for the fireball jutsu. Naruto watched in amazement as she witnessed Naruto make the biggest fireball she'd seen from such a small child. What was even more amazing was that Naruto did not seem tired whatsoever. I'm pretty sure it's whatsoever. He then started to do physical workouts. Naruto would normally do 100 push-ups, sit-ups, and squats, but he was going to push it to 200 for today. Naruto watched as her son trained non-stop and didn't give up. That was something you would need to become a successful ninja. However, you also needed to take a break. Naruto appeared in front of Naruto and caught his fist, making him look surprised for a little bit. His mother was also surprised at the force that was carried in that punch. It made her bone rattle just the slightest. "Time for a break, Naruto." Naruto clapped her hands with a smile. She could see Naruto needed to take a break or he would pass out. After this, Naruto then threw a punch for his mother's stomach, but she blocked it easily. He was not deterred though, because he continued his onslaught of attacks. Naruto threw a kick meant to clip his mother's ankle. Naruto saw this before Naruto even knew he would take the move, which led to her jumping over the leg sweep. She was not expecting Naruto to put his hands on the ground and do rapid leg kicks. Naruto blocked them all with ease, but was just surprised that Naruto would do something like that. He did a sweeping leg kick, but again she jumped over it, but Naruto knew this and used it as a way to get up with the momentum. Naruto got up and went for a leaping punch towards her face, but Naruto only caught his hand and did a shoulder toss. Before Naruto could hit the ground, he put his hands on a half ram sign and disappeared on a body flicker. He even knows that it is not the level of Shisui's, but he can still grow. Naruto easily sidestepped a straight punch from Naruto. Her black eyes tracked his movements with ease. Naruto... Wouldn't it be a black eye because one of it is white? Naruto appeared again and threw quick punches, but Naruto dodged, spun, and slipped around his punches. She saw Naruto miss a step and trip on his feet, and she took this chance to end the little fight. Naruto landed punches to Naruto's side, which sent him a good distance away. Naruto coughed on the ground and looked up to the sky. He just got beat by one punch from... not punches, I guess. A punch. One punch from his sweet mother. It seemed all the training she had been doing wasn't just for show. Naruto looked to the side and saw his mother's two swords sitting on the porch. That made him think about his own Kenjutsu training. He was learning himself, so he didn't know if he was good or not, but he would like to learn from his parents who are masters of the blade. "So, now will you take a break?" His mother's face blocked his view, showing her smiling face. "Yeah," Naruto responded with a sigh. "Great." She picked Naruto up and walked over to the porch and sat down, putting him in her lap. Naruto normally would have complained about this, but simply let her do whatever since he was tired. "Nah, I see you have a high affinity for fire. But just to be sure, why don't we check?" Naruto pulled out some chakra paper holding two slips. "Watch closely," Naruto said as she channeled chakra into the paper and watched as it caught fire and crumbled. So you have fire and earth, Naruto said, more as a statement than a question. Yep, now let's see what you have. She handed her son the slips, but which he took with vigor, and all too quickly channeled chakra into the paper. Naori watched as the paper caught in a blazing inferno and sparked with lightning that seemed. She noticed something strange about his lighting though. It seemed to change colors to purple and quickly went back and checked to see if it was the same with his fire, but saw it was still the same color. I have two like you, Naruto said in excitement. I can help you with your training in natures if you want. Really? Naruto turned in his mother's lap and looked at her with joy. So he doesn't have one? How is he gonna use the gun by then? Of course, son. Anything for you. She wrapped him in a warm embrace on one. Naruto quickly returned. There was a soft smile on Naruto's face. He cherished moments like this with his mother. It also made his goal much clearer. Naruto pulled away and gave his mother another questioning gaze. Mom, can you train me in using two swords like you and Dad? Naruto really wanted to learn this. If he could use a sword in one hand and a scythe in the other, he would be a menace in close quarter combat. Not to mention he would be using a gun by as well. Sure. Why do you want to use swords all of a sudden? Naori asked with a raised delicate eyebrow. Dad asked me the same thing. Is it really so bad for me to use swords? Naruto said with a little annoyance in his tone. It was quickly washed away when he felt a hand smack his head. Don't take that tone with me, young man. I brought you into this world and I can take you out of it, Naori said, looking down on her son who was still in her lap with a lump forming on his head. I didn't even do anything, I just asked a question, he rubbed his head. Naori looked for a moment. Well, I guess I overreacted a bit. She looked sheepish and had a small blush of embarrassment on her face. Can you teach me or not? I can ask Dad if you can't. No, I can teach you. Naori cut him off. She wanted to train her son as well. Her stupid husband was taking all the training sessions. I'm better than your father after all, she said with a clear pride in her voice. Alright, let's get started. Naruto jumped off her lap and went back out the field, ready to start his Kenjutsu training. 3 hours later, Madara hideout. Naruto was back in the dark cave reading through the notes of the legendary Uchiha. He had come down here to get a breather and prepare for the tournament coming up later today. He would show his skills and prove his strength to the clan, which would further bring his name up in the clan, which would make them want to follow him more. Right now he was reading something very interesting. It dealt with Madara, unlocking some new form to his eyes. Today we had a battle with the Senju. It was a long battle which we almost came out on top, but the blasted Senju Tobirama created some teleportation jutsu and managed to mortally wound my beloved younger brother. I had Hashirama in a pinch and was closing in on the victory. Once I heard my brother scream, I looked to see him on the ground bleeding. I abandoned my battle with Hashirama and quickly helped him up. His wound was lethal and he needed immediate attention. That was when Hashirama extended a hand to me for an alliance in order to make our young dream of peace come true. I was going to accept. I was getting tired of losing loved ones and wanted everlasting peace for my people as their leader. That was my duty. Right when I was about to put an end to it, my brother stopped me and reminded me that they were the whole reason he and my clan were dying off. I quickly left the scene with those who were able to leave. His condition didn't get any better and it drove me crazy. I tried everything. We even had the best doctor this world had to offer. When things were getting to an all-time low and I slowly began to lose hope, even members of the clan started to leave and join the Senju of all things. My brother passed away with only one thing being left of him, his eyes, that I now use to see the world in a new light. I've now gained power unmatched by the clan. It is my eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, never-ending light. With these new eyes came a boost in all my capabilities. I even have a new power called the Susanoo. It is the ultimate defense along with offense. There is another step higher called the perfect Susanoo, which reaches even the heavens. I will take this power and crush the Senju once and for all. Madara, Uchiha. So it seems when he lose someone closest to you, it gives you a power. What a tragic tale, to have lost his brother, and even some of his clanmates give up on him. Naruto walked away from the table and got back to training with his kunai and shuriken. After doing a couple of flips in the air, Naruto threw his kunai and watched as they all bounced off each other and flew to their own targets, landing right on the bullseye. He landed with his Sharingan activated and let out a breath. He then heard the sound of his kunai hitting something else, which unlocked a compartment. He walked over and saw a needle wrapped in paper and sitting in a black box with protective padding. It seemed to just fall out of the wall with the perfect hole in the wall. The size of the box was anything to go by. Naruto picked up the paper and saw Madara's handwriting on the paper. Hashirama cells. Naruto blinked and looked at the needle with clear liquid inside the jar. How the heck did he get this? Naruto then remembered Madara said he would bite off a piece of Hashirama to gain power. Whoa, so just putting this in my body will make me stronger? Naruto looked at the needle with trepidation. This was something he needed and would only help him, but stuff like this had major drawbacks. Looking back at the paper, Naruto saw more. Danger. This fool's cells are very powerful and if not strong enough could take over your body and end you. But if I am able to assimilate the cells into my body, then I will have amazing regeneration and be able to use wood release. Well, I'll be danged. A great healing in wood style. Now he was really tempted to inject this into his body. But my body is definitely not strong enough yet to handle the power of the first Hokage. Naruto put everything back to how it was and decided he would come back for this when he was much older and could handle such power. He had a tournament to attend to right now anyways. Fixing his clothes, which consisted of a black pants and white form-fitting shirt. Over this he wore a high collar, long-sleeved mantle that split down the lower half of his body with an Uchiha crest on its back. Around his waist he wore a white obi and black belt. Now let's get things started. Uchiha Square. It was now nighttime and there was members of the clan all crowded in the park watching their kids battle out in the ring. It was just a big white circle on the ground with people outside the circle placing bets and cheering the kids on. They were currently cheering on Naruto, who was giving a beating to another kid. Naruto ducked and moved to the side, avoiding a blow that would have done major damage. He didn't need a Sharingan activated to see this boy's moves. Naruto was also training his regular eyes to watch body movements and predict his opponent's body movements. I feel like he didn't need to say body movements twice, but... Naruto quickly moved in on his enemy and delivered merciless shots to the kid's body. Naruto finished it all off with a spin kick which sent him out of the arena. Who's next? Naruto shouted, standing tall in the circle, allowing the wind to blow his air. The crowd roared and cheered in approval at the young boy's performance. He had won 13 fights in a row without taking a single hit. Way to go, Naruto. He's going to be the next genius of our clan. Naruto only smiled at his plan. His smile did not go unnoticed though. Itachi was in the crowd with his family watching the impressive matches. He was impressed by Naruto becoming so strong at a young age. However, that smile, it is not a smile you have when beating someone. It is a smile you have when everything is going your way, as if you had just finished a plan to 100% accuracy. I want to go and do that. I've been training as well. Itachi looked down at his sister, who was begging their father to let her go and fight. Go ahead, you will beat him in an instant, Fugaku said with a smirk towards his daughter. Right, Satsuki dashed off to the circle. Naruto saw her coming and his smile only grew, putting Itachi on edge. What is he planning? He seems to have got everything he wanted once again. He was getting my sister to come fight, all part of his plan, but for what reason? For the life of him, Itachi couldn't seem to get inside of Naruto's head. The little Uchiha was quite the cunning fox. You're going down, Naruto, Satsuki said with a confident smirk on her face. Then come on, Naruto said calmly and made a bring it gesture with his hands. She wasted no time and ran towards Naruto with the intent to come out on top. The crowd was silent for once out for once at the match in front of them. This was the daughter of the clan head and younger sister to the greatest prodigy Itachi versus Naruto, the only son of Naori and Naka Uchiha, some of the greatest Uchiha the clan had produced. Naruto easily grabbed the fist Satsuki threw towards him. He stepped into her guard and delivered a shoulder tackle to the girl who was smaller than him. He kept hold on her wrist and gave a countless amount of punches to her gut and face. Naruto would have done more, but Satsuki managed to duck her head and bring it up quickly. What she thought would be an easy hit was stopped when Naruto delivered a quick chop to her neck, making her crack her head to where Naruto delivered the chop. Naruto pushed her away, making Satsuki stumble in a slight daze. Those punches hurt, and they came fast. She could feel some blood in her mouth and swallowed it. Naruto rushed her in an attempt to overwhelm her. The only person who could somewhat match him was Mira, but she didn't want to fight in the tournament. Naruto went for a right hook to the girl's face, but she blocked it and threw one of her own. But Naruto also blocked that and countered with a punch of his own. Satsuki barely avoided the attacks, and because she was too slow, a fist from Naruto made her see stars. You gotta be faster than that. Naruto had his hands up and balanced on his feet. Don't tell me what to do. Satsuki charged Naruto, who only had a smirk on his face, and simply awaited all of her attacks with ease. Faster. Naruto threw a punch that connected with her chin, snapping her head upwards. Naruto flipped over her and gave the girl a kick to the back of the head, making her stumble. Pay attention. Naruto went for a kick to her back, but she turned around with great speed and grabbed him by the ankle and threw it to the side, leaving him suspended in midair. Now, Satsuki shouted inside her mind and delivered a strong punch to Naruto's gut, making him wince a little from the clean hit. Naruto landed on his feet, but had a hand in his gut. Not bad. It seems I took you too lightly. Naruto stood on his feet, all the pain from the recent attack gone. I'll end this now. Naruto activated his one Tomoe Sharingan, making everyone in the crowd gasp. A boy of only 6 managed to awaken the Sharingan. This was the... No, it's not. Itachi's girlfriend did it at like 5, I'm pretty sure. Maybe it was 6. This was the youngest case of someone unlocking the Sharingan. He would surely go on to do great things in life. No time to be amazed. Stay focused. Naruto dashed in with speeds far greater than what he was using a minute ago. Satsuki tried to stop him with a punch, but he simply blocked it. He delivered a barrage of kicks, but Satsuki blocked them. She put her hand down, thinking it was over, until she felt a sandal of Naruto kick her in the face, sending her rolling across the ground. About to get back to her feet, she looked up to see Naruto coming down with a fist ready to knock her out. Satsuki closed her eyes, expecting Naruto to hit her in the face, but cracked open an eye to see Naruto smiling down at her. A little dust off pink came to her cheek from how handsome he looked at the moment. That was a good fight. Train harder and come face me again. Naruto extended a hand to her. Satsuki's family was watching with a mixture of emotion. Oh my. Has she got a crush already? Mikoto giggled into her hand. She lost. And Naruto beat her so easily, Fugaku said in shock. They had been training their daughter in the way of the ninja, and she was showing good results. But Naruto beat her like it was nothing, even when he didn't have his Sharingan activated. To think, he could control the flow of the battle so perfectly. He only activated his Sharingan so he could show everyone. Itachi looked on with an impassive face. Naruto stood in the middle of the ring with a satisfied smirk on his face. Everything had gone according to plan, and now was the last part. The winner is Naruto Uchiha. Uchiha walked over and brought Naruto's hand up and watched as the crowd went wild with cheers. He beat the clan head's daughter. Naruto should become the next clan head. Once again, Naruto was satisfied. Everything was... Ah yes, let's make a 6-year-old child the next clan head. Everything was going just the way he wanted. All he needed to do was to make sure everyone followed his plan when the time came. Chapter 3, Final Straw. Isn't that like a Diary of a Wimpy Kid book title? I think so. I don't know. Those were great in middle school. One day later, Naruto was returning home after a training session in Madara's hideout. He had practiced on using the gunbai and it was starting to show great results. He read in Madara's journal that he could use it for to form wind attacks without having a wind nature chakra. Okay, that's fair. This meant he could summon wind attacks with his gunbai and enhance them with his fire, causing nothing but death to his enemies, just the way it should be. It was 11 AM that Naruto was going to go home and see if he could get his mom to make him some lunch. He wouldn't train effectively on an empty stomach after all. Maybe he would go see how Mira is doing and get some training from her speedster of a brother. The image of Satsuki then popped into his head. The girl was talented and had great potential. She could become a wonderful rival and a friend in the future. However, her brother was Itachi, and that would be a problem. He didn't like the guy one bit, and was sure after he beat his sister in a fight, Itachi did not like him that much either. Naruto's thoughts were put to a direct halt when he jumped out of the way of a senbon needle that would have knocked him out. Naruto pulled out a kunai and looked around to see where the senbon came from. Naruto activated his one Tomoe Sharingan and blocked or deflected a volley of more senbon. When it was over, Naruto lowered his kunai but was still on guard. When lowering his hand, he noticed a small cut and felt his hand go numb. Poison, dang it. I need to work on my reaction time. I was too slow. Naruto mentally berated himself for being poisoned. His red eyes scanned the trees for the slightest hint of movement. He noticed a branch move slightly and immediately launched a kunai at the branch. All Naruto received for his efforts was a log falling from the tree. A substitution. Naruto thought quickly and dropped the smoke bomb. Running out of the smoke was two shadow clones of Naruto in different directions. If I make it closer to the compound, I'll be able to get help. With that in mind, the clone rushed off with speed, surprising the people attacking Naruto. Follow them all. We can't let him escape. Someone spoke from under a tan cloak in the trees, revealing only a lizard mask. Three other masked figures nodded and dashed off after Naruto, not knowing who was the real one. Naruto was running through the forest with his head on a swivel and sweat coming down his face. He still didn't know still didn't know who was chasing him, and only hoped that he would be fast enough to make it home in time. That senbon was poisoned and meant to knock him out, which meant they wanted him alive and take him somewhere, and he couldn't allow that to happen. Not at a time like this. Naruto turned and deflected a kunai that was aimed at his shoulder. Knowing he had just been spotted, he picked up his speed. Using the little chakra control, he knew to send his legs and dashed off with speeds of a genin. Naruto had made it out of the forest and was now in a clearing. Three masked ninjas appeared in front of him with tantos drawn and ready to apply force. The purple tinted haired boy stopped on a dime and stood in place, glaring at the masked ninja while a silence ran through the field with the sound of his heart beating like crazy in his ears. "What does the Ambu of the village want with me?" Naruto asked, but it sounded more like a demand. "Just come with us and nobody gets hurt." What looked like the captain wearing lizard mask spoke, aiming his tanto at Naruto threateningly. "I'll never come with you." Naruto pulled out a kunai and got ready to do battle. He wished now more than ever he had brought a gunbai or a scythe with him. That way he could defend himself better from the battle he knew was going to happen. "You have no choice," the captain said, and leaped towards Naruto. The boy put up his kunai and guard against the tanto, which was pressing down on him with great force. He locked eyes with the captain and used his genjutsu skills he received from his mother and father to place the guy in a quick genjutsu that would leave him frozen. With the captain being frozen, Naruto lunged his kunai towards the guy's heart, aiming to get a quick kill. However, Lizard wasn't a captain for nothing and quickly dispelled the genjutsu and only suffered a shoulder wound. Lizard jumped back and pulled the kunai out while he let his two comrades go forward. They also had tantos out and ready to deal damage to the midnight-haired boy, who quickly created a clone and charged back with vigor. Naruto's heart was pumping and his blood flowed through his body, fueling his muscles. Clashing kunai and tanto together, Naruto and his clone together were quickly outmatched. Naruto, seeing this, decided he would just have to fight dirty and try to get a signal out to his clan. Naruto spit through the eye hole of his masked attacker, whose mask looked like an owl. That's disrespectful, man. He quickly moved to the masked ninja's blind side and jammed the kunai to the guy's neck, but he slightly evaded it, but still suffered a small cut in his uncovered neck. It seemed like only the captain could wear a cloak. Naruto put his hand in a half ram sign and body flickered to his clone side and quickly did a barrage of slices to the other Anbu, pushing him back from the surprising speed and power behind the boy's attack. Naruto body flickered back a good distance and went through hand signs for the fire style fireball jutsu. Instead of aiming it towards them like the Anbu thought, Naruto shot the massive fireball into the sky and watched it as it went to heights which could be seen from the compound. Naruto also pumped a good amount of chakra into the fireball, and then the release no doubt was felt back in the compound. Naruto's chakra even cratered the ground he was standing on. Dang, he sent a signal to the traitors. Quickly get him before backup arrives. The captain along with the other Anbu charged towards Naruto with speeds his Strongon could barely keep up with. Crap, they're faster, I can barely see them. Naruto did something he saw Shisui do with his Strongon while they were training on one time. Naruto channeled fire nature chakra into his kunai, which extended the kunai to 14 inches. Naruto combined this with a body flicker and began to appear and disappear while swinging his flame-covered kunai multiple times, sending out flaming blades that connected with his desired targets. This was called Uchiha style Halo Dance. Naruto appeared back into view and dropped down to a knee. The effect of everything was starting to drain him of his chakra. The Anbu were now littered with burns and their gears had blood running down their heads and arms. The captain lifted his mask slightly and spit out some blood. It seems we underestimated you too much. He got a middle finger from Naruto as his response. We won't make that mistake again, boy. The Anbu disappeared from view, making Naruto get back to his feet and look around for them with his red eyes glowing. Naruto was punched in the face and kicked in the back while someone kicked his leg, dropping him to a knee. The boy rolled and got back to his feet but couldn't block the tanto that sliced through his right side, causing blood to gush from his black high collar and long sleeve. A cry of pain escaped Naruto's throat and he clutched his bleeding side. Looking back up, Naruto could see the tanto coming down to slice his chest open and no doubt end him, or at least knock him out, letting him be taken and healed up by those Anbus. The world slowed and Naruto could see the pattern the tanto was going and calculated different ways to dodge it effectively. Naruto moved out of the way of the falling tanto and readied his kunai to shove directly up the masked ninja's throats. When the world picked up, Naruto was untouched by the tanto, while his kunai was now sitting safely in the masked Anbu named Owl's throat. Everyone stopped and just let that sink in. Naruto had just ended an Anbu. The young Uchiha looked up and heard the masked ninja gasp. He had just awakened the second Tomoe of his Strongon in both eyes, catching the light reflection of his kunai. Naruto saw his Strongon and evolved. Naruto saw his Strongon had evolved, and a grin spread across his face. Looks like I leveled up. The grin left his face as he remembered where he was and what position he was in. Naruto knew he was still weaker than those guys and would still lose this fight if nobody came to help. Indeed, but it is of no importance, the captain said and appeared behind Naruto with a senbon in hand. The lizard, what happened to trying to use senbon on the 6-year-old child instead of trying to brutally slice him, you know? The lizard masked ninja was going to jam the needle in the neck of Naruto until his face was grabbed and shoved to the floor, cracking his mask and skull from the force which caused the ground to crater and cracks to spread. Naruto turned around and saw his dad standing there with a furious look on his face. He had his katana drawn and Mangekyo blazing ready to take lives. Dad, Naruto said in relief and awe. He had just killed that guy by simply slamming his head into the ground. Naka looked down and saw his son's changed eyes, letting a smile grace his face. Naka ruffled Naruto's hair. Good job. It seems you gotta keep getting stronger right under my nose. You keep getting stronger right under my nose. Naruto smiled tiredly and began to stumble forward until he fell into his father's arms. All the vents finally catching up to him and his body giving out on him. Naka created a clone and handed his son over to it. Once that was done, his killer intent flared and covered the whole clearing, and his chakra poured off him in waves. Naka's Mangekyo was in the form of a red 3-pointed pinwheel, while his pupil was prominent in the center. Now, care to tell me why you attacked my son, Anbu of the Leaf? He spat out with clear disgust. We were just finishing off a future trader. The Anbu said and charged Naka with his full speeds, which was Jonin level. Naka easily ducked the Tanta swipe meant to take his head off and quickly slashed his blade faster and faster than the Anbu could see. Naka sliced his head off. Not like it matters anyway. This was the last straw. Naka slid his blade into its sheath and walked over and took his son back into his arms, letting his clone dispel. He gave a kiss to Naruto's forehead and smiled one last time. You'll go on to do big things, Naruto. Don't let the curse of hatred swallow you up like it did your failure of a father. Never falter from your path. Lead the clan in a new age and take care of your mother for me. Giving one last hug to Naruto, he left in a body flicker to the Hidden Leaf village with a clear goal in mind. A few seconds later, a group of Uchihas appeared with weapons ready, being led by Naori Uchiha, the wife of Naka Uchiha and the one-eyed Empress. The Uchiha scanned the area around and looked at the battle that had clearly just taken place, along with the chakra still floating aimlessly in the air from the leftover battle. That was when they all saw Naruto and the dead bodies on the ground. Naori was at Naruto's side in an instant, checking over him. Naruto. She picked him up and saw the bleeding wound on his right side and blood coming from his lip with scratches and dirt all over his clothes. Checking to see if Naruto was still alive before anything else, she placed her fingers on his neck, waiting for a pulse. When she felt it, she let out a sigh and wiped the tears that were on the corner of her eyes. Naori picked Naruto up and went back to the clan members that had followed her, ready to do battle. They thought it was the Leaf Ninja trying to send them to an early grave. Naori, is Naruto okay? A male Uchiha asked, stepping up with worry all over his face. Naori simply smiled at the worry and respected her son was getting from the clan. Her smile dropped and became an angry sneer. Looks like the Leaf Anbu attacked Naruto. Naori's tone was icy and it sent shivers up the other's spine. But it seems he managed to kill him. One of them spoke up. No, it looks like Naruto only killed one, and the other two died to someone else, and Uchiha said while looking at the dead bodies. It was my husband. I felt his chakra and killing intent here, Naori said. Naori answered their unanswered question. But where is he now? Why would he end them and leave Naruto by himself? We should hurry to the clinic and heal Naruto of his wounds first, a medical ninja of the Uchiha said, looking at Naruto's injury. Yes, let us do that first, Naori said and took to the trees, casting a worried glance towards the Leaf Village. Hokage office. Hiruzen was in the office, signing paperwork while his mind wandered about the things that had been taking place. The Ninetales attacked the village, leaving it in ruins and killing the 4th Hokage. People claimed to see a Sharingan in the Ninetales' eyes, and he too saw the dojutsu of the Uchiha clan in it. There was only one person who was able to control the Ninetales, and that was Madara Uchiha, but it was no secret that Naka possessed the ability to control Biju, since he did the same thing to the Five Tails during the war when his squad was pinned down and there was no yellow flash to save him. When the attack was over, someone leaked not only the identity of the Ninetales vessel, but also that Ninetale was being controlled. He had a feeling that he knew who the person was. He talked to him about it, but nothing seemed to work, and things only got worse. Hiruzen pulled out a folder that was labeled classified. It was about the Uchiha and everything that was going on. Itachi had managed to give him some information containing the clan. He opened the folder and revealed a profile on Naruto Uchiha, the son of Naori and Naka Uchiha. He was the youngest member to awaken the Sharingan at only 6. The boy was showing great skill and was considered a prodigy greater than that of Itachi, who is being called the next Madara Uchiha. Itachi had also sent him a message saying he won the Uchiha tournament last night with ease, which meant he beat the clan head's daughter Satsuki. There wasn't much known about Naruto since he seemed to not like Itachi, therefore the spy was not able to grab any information on him. Hiruzen had asked Shisui to get some information on Naruto, but the information seemed to be lackluster and sloppy at best. It was things they already knew about. Danzo had said that Shisui was a traitor and sliding with the Uchiha, therefore needed to be ended for going against the Leaf. Hiruzen agreed with his old friend on some parts. He was also able to notice that Shisui seemed to not be completely faithful to the leaf like Itachi was, and that could cause problems down the line. Maybe he would send some Anbu to spy on Shisui to make sure his loyalty was to the leaf. He didn't like doing things like this since he would have to end him if he wanted to help the Uchiha in whatever plans they were cooking up. A peaceful man he was, and he would try to talk it out first like he had been doing with the clan head, Fugaku Uchiha. However, he always put their issues aside because there were other things he had to worry about more importance than one clan being pushed outside the village. They should just accept it for the village's sake. I'll talk with Fugaku later. I need to see what the Raikage is up to. The Hyuga really want something done. I'll call in Hayashi today and see what we can do about this. Hiruzen blew out a ring of smoke from his pipe. He reached into his desk and pulled out an orange book and giggled pervertedly. He opened the page and started reading until he heard the glass break and his neck grabbed in a tight grip. Hiruzen was picked up and thrown with the great force into the wall of the office. Caught you with your pants down. The deadly tone of Naka came from the broken window. What are you doing, Naka? Hiruzen coughed out from the inside of the wall he was slammed in. The Anbu jumped down and rushed Naka without speaking and aimed to end him. Naka simply maneuvered around them all and killed them in an instant with his sword. Isn't it obvious? Naka swung his blade down ready to kill Hiruzen, but the old man managed to pull out a kunai and block, but found it increasingly hard to do so. Naka killed the old man in the guts and gave him a jaw-shattering punch that sent him crashing outside in the streets of the village. Naka looked down on Hiruzen from the broken window. I'm here to kill you. Naka blasted the Hokage with the full force of his killing intent and watched as it pushed down on Hiruzen like a giant boulder, with the regular civilians passed out along with the other ninja around the town. You're making a mistake, Hiruzen said while summoning Enma and throwing off his robes. We can talk this out. There's nothing else to talk about. Naka launched himself downwards while his strong arm spun widely and his blood pumped in excitement of the death match about to take place. Council meeting hours later. The council room was silent at the moment. Why? Because the third Hokage was in a weakened state. The god of shinobi was just in a deadly battle with Naka Uchiha, which left him heavily injured, but he was still able to pull through and only suffered deep cuts and broken bones. When the battle started, he was on the receiving end of devastating power of Naka Uchiha. The battle lasted 3 hours and tore a good part of the village up, and many civilians were injured during the battle. Other ninjas tried to jump in and help the Hokage, but it was no use because they were effortlessly swatted away. Hiruzen was pushed to limits he hadn't been in a while, and was rusty, but once he got a hold of himself, he was able to use all of his experience and storage of jutsu and make a brutal comeback and Naka, and in the end knocked him out. However, he did not come out of the battle untouched. Hiruzen's left arm was broken along with broken ribs with a bruised back. Hiruzen, what happened out there? Koharu shouted at Hiruzen, who was in bandages and small cuts on his face. You saw what happened. The Uchiha have chosen their path. We shall take this chance to strike before they perform an all-out assault. Danzo spoke with a hidden smirk. Things have gone much better than he expected. It was him who sent the rude Anbu after Naruto. He wanted to capture the boy and make him a loyal weapon, but this was also a good outcome. All that was left now was for him to persuade the council into believing the Uchihas were trying to take over the village. But why did he attack you, Hokage-sama? The clan head for the Nara asked, fully awake. This was something serious and no time to be sleeping. Because the Uchihas are traitors to the village. They have finally snapped and want to take over our village, which they think is theirs, Danzo said. I agree with Danzo. It seems as if they can no longer be contained and are now making moves. Chozu Akamichi spoke in a serious tone not often heard from him. Yes, when one is pushed and put under pressure for as long as the Uchihas, the person would naturally snap, Inoichi spoke, referring to his mental studies. As someone who focused on the mind, he knew all about these kinds of situations. And what are we waiting for? Let's go and round them all up. Tezume yelled and flexed her claws. I think we're missing something here. Shikaku interrupted before things got more troublesome than they already were becoming. Even if what you guys say has some truth to it, there is still no reason Naka would attack you so openly and as fiercely as he did. There has to be something that happened. Shikaku voiced being the one to try and see things outside the box. That is logical, but the real question is, what was it? She voiced after taking the whole situation over, talking the whole situation over with his bugs. Man talks to his bugs? Alright. Danza, seeing things were not going the way he wanted them to be, decided he would speak up once again. Does it really matter? They not only attacked the village, but the Hokage. That deserved death without question. That is true, Hiyashi said with his emotionless face. Attacking the Hokage is a serious crime. There were times when the side branch members would feel ballsy and try to attack the main branch members. This would lead to their eventual execution. That was when the idea hit him. Why don't we perform a public execution? On the inside, Danza was smirking like Christmas had come early. This is a perfect idea. It can serve an example to the Uchiha to not challenge us again, and also show the civilians that we are still in power and on top of things. That was when Hiruzen had enough. Silence. He blasted them with his killing intent, making them all freeze in their movements and sweat to form on their foreheads. Even Danza froze from the powerful ki. It seems this battle had awakened some of the power he had been holding back from being Hokage for years. Last time I checked, I was still a Hokage, and I decide what happens. Can't you see, this is exactly what the Uchihas were planning. If they killed you, they would no doubt launch a full force attack on the village. Danzo got out through gritted teeth. Do you hear yourself? Why would they do something so stupid? Hiruzen let up on his ki, allowing the clan heads to breathe heavily. You're not seeing what's right in front of you. The civilians are in uproar, thinking a civil war is about to break out. If we perform this public execution, we will not only put the Uchiha in check, but also put the civilians' heart at ease knowing we have won. He makes a good point, Hokage. Hiyashi took Danzo's side on this. Once he had the branch members killed that would step out of line, the others would also fall back in place. Let's take a vote. Danzo raised his hands as he spoke. If you wish to see Naka Uchiha put to death, raise your hands. I don't think Danzo gets to choose that, but whatever. Hiyashi, Inoichi, Chozu, Koharu, Hamaru, Tezume raised their hands. Then it shall be decided. Come tomorrow, Naka Uchiha will be no more. Hiruzen glared at Danzo with clear anger. That will not happen. Oh, but it will. We have outvoted you, so there's nothing you can say. Danza had to suppress a smirk at getting his way. Rude HQ. You must take measures to avoid mayhem. Hiruzen knows that the Uchiha are planning a revolt, but yet does nothing. He is too soft. I hope this fight with Naka would wake him to the truth, but I guess not. Danza spoke while looking towards Itachi. Itachi only stayed silent while he looked at Danza emotionlessly. He was merely thinking of the things that had happened today. Not only did Naruto almost die, but he had the Hokage, but the Hokage was in a death match. In which case, even Hiruzen as a Hokage will have no choice but to take drastic measures. The old man's tone was blank and gave nothing away. In which case, the Uchiha will lock themselves into a fate of annihilation, including your innocent little sister. Danza stopped to allow his words and meaning to sink into the brain of Itachi, who only stared back blankly. I just want you to make a choice. Either align with the Uchiha, launch the coup d'etat and die with your clan, or side with the Leaf. Save your younger sister before the coup d'etat and then help us annihilate all the Uchiha. Danza closed his eyes and thought out his next words. Itachi, this will be the most painful mission for you. Will you accept? It will allow your little sister to be spared, if you care about the village as much as I do. Itachi only walked off with his goal clear in his mind. He had been thinking of this for the past days and finally made up his mind with this last meeting with the elders. He just had to make a visit to the ghost of the Uchiha and maybe speak with his best friend Shisui. When Itachi made it to the forest, he summoned the crow and placed a message in its beak. It was a message telling his plan to Shisui, who would take the information and leave the village with his sister before it was too late. The crow left, leaving him alone in the forest to go speak to Madara Uchiha. Uchiha Hospital. Naruto was sitting in the bed while looking at the ceiling with an angry look. Not even angry, he was, very angry. His dad had gone to go and kill the Hokage, and now he was being held captive. Why did his father go and do something so stupid? He knew he couldn't beat the Hokage along with the other ninjas that no doubt helped Hiruzen in this battle. This is only setting the clan back and making the village more hateful towards us, Naruto sighed. When I get my hands on that old man, I'm gonna hit him square in the jaw, Naruto proclaimed with a smile. A gust of wind blew Naruto's hair in his face and revealed Shisui with a solemn face. Hey there, kid. The boy walked over and took a seat next to Naruto. Hey, Shisui. You to examine my Sharingan? Naruto flashed his red eyes towards the messy-haired boy. Still nothing compared to mine. Shisui showed Naruto his fully matured Sharingan and smirked when Naruto turned his head and pouted. But on a more serious note, I've got some bad news. Shisui's tone was no longer juvenile and was stern, lacking no hint of joy. What is it? Naruto turned and gave the boy his full attention. Shisui reached into his pocket and pulled out the note Itachi had given him. Things have taken a turn for the worse, and Itachi plans to kill the clan. Shisui didn't know that Itachi was now talking to Madara Uchiha about helping kill the clan with them. What? Kill the clan? Why would he do such a stupid thing? Naruto couldn't even comprehend what Itachi could be thinking. To do something like that was unspeakable and went against everything the Uchiha were, a clan that cherished family more than anything in this world. He says it is a mission from the village elders and council. All he asked was that his sister Satsuki be kept safe. Shisui said, holding his head down. There were better ways to handle this, and Naruto's idea to leave the village didn't seem like such a bad idea anymore. He had suggested to just use his Mangekyo ability and convince the clan head to put a halt to all of this, but that would only delay the problem for a certain amount of time and cause them to still be wiped out. I always knew there was something funny with that guy, and this just proves it. To think he would take it this far. Naruto was in his bed shaking with rage while his new Sharingan blazed with intensity. I want you to take my sister and leave with your family, Shisui said, causing Naruto to whip his head around. What are you saying? You want me to abandon everyone else and leave you here to die? No, I can't. I won't. Naruto, listen to me. What are we going to do? He is going to come after us. Some of us will die and there's nothing you can do to change that. We leave, Naruto said simply. It says he's going to execute the plan tomorrow night, and we will use that chance to get away. Shisui looked at Naruto with shock written all over his face. To think Naruto's conviction would still hold true after all that has happened today. He felt as if Naruto was born to save the clan, a born leader, someone they could all turn to in a time of need like this. We will save everyone and create a new path for the Uchiha, Naruto said sternly and stubbornly. Make some clones and spread the message to everyone in the clan. Our legacy will not fall. We've come too far to simply die like those Senju. A fire was lit ablaze in Naruto, the true will of fire. The will to succeed and overcome obstacles that intend to keep you from your goal. Saving everyone will surely not work. It is impossible, Shisui thought in sadness. Naruto was very mature, but he still had a naivety that he would have to learn the hard way. You can't save everyone. Are there still those who wish to partake in the coup d'etat? Naruto questioned Shisui. Yes. Make sure to tell them to be ready for battle tomorrow. Why? They will be our defense in the escape. Naruto smirked at Shisui, who looked on with confusion. What do you mean? Tell them we will be making an escape and they must kill Itachi, who is the traitor to the clan, and regroup with us once they have finished the job. Shisui widened his eyes. He doesn't know what he's doing. If he tells them to stay back, they will no doubt become sacrifices for the rest of the clan's escape. Itachi is one of the strongest members of our clan, and no one but his father, myself, Nayori, and Naka could beat him. They won't stand a chance. Shisui wondered if he would tell Naruto this, but then thought about the pros and cons. If he told Naruto, he would most likely try and think of something else to try and keep everyone alive. If he didn't tell Naruto, the clan would be able to leave with a good portion of its members alive, and nobody would ever know what happened. Shisui wondered if he should talk with Fugaku about this. This is when it hit him. If I speak with Fugaku about this plan, he could use the members who wanted to revolt against the village to cover us, and not make it seem as if they had been abandoned and lied to. This way, the Uchiha could still put up some damage against the village and keep Itachi off their backs, while those who didn't want to do that could escape. Do you get me? Naruto asked while throwing a pillow towards Shisui, who blocked it. Yeah, I got you. I'll go and get it done. Shisui stood up and threw the pillow into Naruto's face, knocking him on the bed from the force. You punk. Naruto ready to throw the pillow, only to see the boy he was aiming at was gone. Gotta get him to help me train in that. Naruto's future plans to have Shisui train him in a body flicker was cut off when the door was slammed open and Mira along with his mother entered. Naruto! Mira shouted and jumped on the bed and wrapped Naruto in a hug. Are you okay? I wanted to come early, but I was training, and then Big Brother Shisui told me to stay inside because it wasn't safe. Yeah, I'm alright, and it's fine. I wouldn't want anything to happen to you, Naruto said, and returned the hug, much to the happiness of Mira, who was enjoying that Naruto returned the hug, and blah blah blah. Are you really okay, Naruto? I know today has been a busy day. His mother came in and placed a comforting hand on his midnight purple hair. I'll be fine. How are you, Mom? Naruto grabbed his mom's hand since Mira had released them from the hug. I'll be fine, honey. Thanks for asking. She pulled Naruto into her chest and gave him a tight hug. You just had me really worried today, and not to mention your idiot father going off and attacking the Hokage of all people. Nayori knew what that meant for her husband and had cried in this hospital room when she was alone and Naruto was asleep. Well, I do have a scar on my right side now though. Naruto told his mother, who felt sad that her son had to receive such a scar at such a young age. Don't worry, Naruto. Next time I'll be there to protect you. I was having my brother teach me Kenjutsu. Mira gave Naruto a bright smile that made him blush a little, but he turned his head before he could be teased by his mother any further. However, it was too late and the damage was already done. Are you blushing? Nayori asked in a teasing tone, causing Mira's eyes to widen. No. He made the mistake of turning, showing his red cheeks. Mira's eyes widened in delight. You are. She began to nuzzle their faces together, causing Nayori to laugh while Naruto tried to get her off of him. Just leave and let me rest. Naruto was able to get Mira off of him and pulled the covers and got under them and turned over. I'll sleep here with you. Mira got under the covers with Naruto and smiled. I'll keep you company. Great ideas. Oh, alright, buddy. Alright. Great ideas, sweetie. Nayori walked over and gave them both kisses on their foreheads. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Love ya. Love you too. Mom? The door closed, leaving the smiling Mira wide-eyed Naruto. Well, good night, Naruto. Mira wrapped her arms around Naruto and laid her head on his chest and closed her eyes, ready to sleep with a smile on her face. Naruto let out a sigh and laid his head back on the pillow with a sigh. He would enjoy these moments while they lasted. Come tomorrow, there would be no time for games. Is his dad actually gonna get killed? Like, it's kinda tough. Next day, Naruto was at home, finally out of the hospital. His mother had come back to find Mira laying on his chest while he had an arm around her protectively. She teased them, saying they looked okay. Alright. Anyways, Naruto was finishing some moves with his two wooden swords. He was learning the two swords style that his mother would use. The hardest part was using two swords at once since he was right-handed, and that meant he had to work with his left hand a bunch to make it just as good as its counterpart. Naruto performed a double thrust to the imaginary enemy. His body was occupied with training while his mind was on Madara's journal. He decided to pack everything of importance up and bring it with him. He was going to destroy the hideout to buy some more time for their escape. But what he learned in the journal was correct. Madara had said that the clan would be shunned by the village for past actions, therefore not being trusted. Hashirama was going to make Madara the Hokage, but due to the village being a democracy and not a dictatorship, the people voted for Hashirama. Madara tried to break the alliance and leave the village with his clan so they could form their own village so they wouldn't be shunned and forced to serve as lapdogs to a village that hated them. They called him a madman and a warmonger, but it was far from the truth. Madara would have formed an alliance with the Leaf Village so peace could still last, but the Uchihas didn't want to believe in him, so he left. It was then that Madara came back with the Nine Tails under his control. That is what really shocked Naruto. He had heard whispers around his dad being able to control the nine-tailed beast, but to think it had some truths to it. Naruto had flipped through the pages for more information on the tailed beasts and had found a definition by Madara. The tailed beasts, I don't know why I'm struggling with that. The tailed beasts, I'm gonna move on, are nothing but rampant beasts with power too much to handle. They are simply wild beasts looking for someone to help them with a purpose. Nothing but servants to those of visual prowess. They range from 1 to 9 tails, going from weakest to strongest. One-tailed sand raccoon uses sand and sealing jutsu comparable to a weaker Uzumaki. Two-tailed hellcat. It is a cat made completely of blue fire and fast for its size. Yeah, it's a hellcat. I mean, it's pretty quick for a boat. Three-tailed turtle with a thick shell to crack. It has a great water affinity and uses coral to fight. Four-tailed ape. It jumps around a lot and uses lava along with its great strength to smash things around. Five-tailed horse with a dolphin head. Six-tailed slug. Seven-tailed beetle. Eight-tailed ox. Nine-tailed fox. Tailed beasts equals peace. Once Naruto read that, he was fascinated by the tailed beasts and wished to meet them all. Surely creatures such as that are not simply mindless beasts like Madara labeled them as. Not to mention, he said that the Biju equal to peace. If that was the case, Naruto would go after the Biju sometime down the line and form this peace Madara was talking about. How he would do that, Naruto had no idea. If he just captured them, he would simply be like the first Hokage which collected all the Biju. However, that was not peace, and simply silent conflict which soon led to war by using the Biju as weapons. If he did what Madara did and simply put them all under his control and used their power to cause war and destruction, that would only lead to a giant war which would be the complete opposite of what he wanted. Maybe if I try and speak with them, things will be different this time. Although much rather fight first, since I'm sure I would have to prove my power to them in some way. Naruto jumped in the air and fell, performing an X-shaped slash towards the imaginary enemy he was fighting. He then performed multiple spinning slashes and deflected the dozens of kunai coming towards him from a kunai launcher. His mind then wandered to the battle Madara had with Hashirama. It made no sense to Naruto. Why would Madara go back and destroy everything he had worked so hard for? Maybe there was some hidden meaning that everyone was missing. Naruto thought with clear confusion. Naruto! The mentioned boy was snapped from his thoughts, then he heard his mother shout his name and ran to him with tears in the corner of her eyes. Yes, Mom? Naruto relaxed and took a breather but was worried at why his mother was about to cry. Naori lifted up a paper with a shaking hand. She handed it to Naruto while holding her tears back. Naruto took the paper, which was an urgent message that was sent to everyone in the village. Naruto took the paper and read it with a sinking feeling in his gut. His eyes scanned the paper and his bottom lip began to tremble. The wooden swords dropped to the ground and his black eyes flashed a deep crimson red. The public execution of Naka Uchiha in the village square in 2 hours. The paper read in big red letters with a picture of Naka beat up and in handcuffs with a seal over his eyes. His heart began to beat rapidly while drops of tears began to fall in the newspaper. The time he spent with his father began to flash inside his mind on replay. His breath became shallow and denial started to grow in his mind. Why? He isn't some war criminal or a thug. He's my father. Naruto crumpled the paper up and let angry tears fall from his eyes. His dad was going to be killed and there was nothing he could do. Naori, seeing this, pulled Naruto into a tight hug and let silent tears fall from her eyes, while her son cried into her shoulder. Naori's heart felt like it weighed a ton and her guilt was immeasurable. All over the village, civilians and ninja alike received the same news. Their reactions varied. The civilians cheered and began to toast to the death of a criminal and the cause of the Nine Tails attack. The ninja shook their heads at the foolish Uchiha. It was a pity that they would lose such a strong ninja, but this was what happens when they got cocky. Someone had to put them in their place. The Uchihas, however, felt a burning rage that they would kill one of their own and parade it like it was some kind of festival. They could hear the cheers of the civilians all the way in the compound. The Uchihas were ready to march into the village and raise hell. They would have maybe attempted something if Fugaku didn't wait for them at the entrance to the compound with his Mangekyo blazing. He had moved them all to the Uchiha shrine so they could talk in private. He had received a message from Shisui last night and was surprised that Naruto came up with such a plan. Fugaku knew that with the execution of Naka today that the clan who wanted to start a revolt on the Leaf would have no problem laying their lives down for the members who wanted to escape. It was because of this event that they would allow their family and friends to escape if it meant they had to sacrifice, even if it meant they had to sacrifice their own lives. Perhaps that is why you did all of this, Naka. Did you know your death would cause a chain reaction and cause the clan to finally see the truth that the Leaf is no place for us? Fugaku thought sadly while paying his respect to his old friend. You would have been a better clan head than I ever could, but perhaps your son will do a better job than the both of us. The clan head opened his eyes and looked over the Uchihas gathered in the shrine. You all know what the plan is. We will not fall today. He received nods from all the Uchihas who would partake in being the shield that allowed the others to escape. They were resolute and would hope that their family made it out of this with their lives. 2 hours later, Leaf Square. The Leaf Square was packed with the whole village in attendance. It was mixed with civilians, ninjas, and even kids, mainly the clan heirs, along with kids from ninja families. Everyone was cheering in excitement for what was to come. On a large stage were the elders of the village along with the clan heads. It was then everyone saw the Hokage make his way to the front with a blank face, showing nothing to the crowd of people here to watch a man die. People of the Leaf, I bring you Naka Uchiha. He reasoned spoke out using chakra to make his voice echo across the square and over the cheers of his people. Two Anbu walked out dragging the battered form of Naka Uchiha. The Uchihas in the crowd gasped at the condition of their clanmate. He had bruises all over his face and scratches with bandages wrapped around certain parts of his body. It seems like they felt like torturing him out of information before he was killed. Through all of this, Naka didn't say a word and remained silent. The Uchihas were furious and just wanted to launch the plan early and kill those people who dare laugh at this situation. Their anger paled in comparison to Naruto's, however. The boy was just a ball of hate and the dark desires were slowly taking over his mind. His Sharingan was spinning wildly and barely concealed his ki pouring off the boy. Naka raised his head and looked over the crowd that was calling him names and danging him to hell. None of it mattered, however, though. He was looking for people who meant everything to him. My family. Naka spotted the beautiful purple hair of his wife and dark hair of his son. They were being surrounded by the clan in a protective manner. He smiled at the thoughtfulness of his clan. He would miss them, but hoped his sacrifice was not in vain. Naka saw his son's teary eye and smiled lightly. Don't cry, son. Your father has only one regret, and that is that I won't be able to see you grow into the splendid man I know you will become. Naka moved his vision to his wife, who also had tears in her eyes but still showed love towards him. My angel, my saving grace, I'll miss you just as much as I will our son and clan. You stuck with me when I was in the time of darkness and helped me out. Just be there for our son. The Anbu pulled out their weapons and got ready to impale Naka through the heart and kill him in an instant. They just waited for Hiruzen, who had a sad gaze. The Hokage brought his hand down as the signal and looked away. Naka mouthed the words I love you to his family one last time with a smile on his face. Nayori's tears then fell as she told Naka she loved them back, while Naruto's eyes began to burn and spin intensely. The swords pierced Naka's heart and he let out a final grunt before he collapsed face first with a smile on his face. The crowd cheered at having killed the traitor. Naruto began to cry tears of blood as his Mangekyo was just awakened. He gained another Tomoe, which quickly combined with the others, turning into a black three-pointed pinwheel with a hole showing the red irises, while there was a black pupil in the middle. Naori saw her son's eyes begin to bleed and gasped when she saw his eyes change right in front of her. She knew what this meant and only hoped Naruto didn't fall to the curse of hatred, but if he did, she would help bring him out of it, just like she did with his now deceased father. She pulled out a rag and wiped his bloody tears and watched as her son fainted from everything that had happened. Nairi caught him and just hugged his body while Miura came and hugged him as well. Fugaku watched with sadness as his best friend's family mourned his death. He also saw that the young Miura seemed to awaken her Sharingan with one Tomoe. After having no parents and being raised by her brother, spending so much time with Naori and Naka, she must have felt like her father had also passed. The man looked down to his daughter who had a sad face. The girl felt horrible for Naruto and wished she could do something to help. His wife Mikoto sniffled a little and went over to comfort the grieving family. Fugaku then looked towards the stage where the dead body of his friend laid. He would not allow them to keep his body and possibly try and take his eyes. With his mind made up, Fugaku took to the roof and jumped until he was on the stage in front of his friend's body. "What are you doing here, Uchiha? Here to finish what he started?" Danzo questioned angrily. "I am just taking my friend's body. He will lay in the Uchiha compound." Fugaku dropped down and easily broke the cuffs and removed the seals on his body. Fugaku gently took Naka in his arms and was about to leave until he was surrounded. "You won't be taking him anywhere," Koharu shouted. "We will take a body and run a proper scan over him." "You mean take his eyes," Fugaku said, with his own anger getting the better of him and letting his Sharingan show. "This man will rest in the embrace of his family, not some vultures like you." Uchiha members appeared around Fugaku ready to strike the Anbu if they were threatened. Fugaku left in a column of fire and was followed by the Uchihas, who left in a body flicker. The clan head appeared over Naori, Mikoto, Naruto, and Miura. "Let's give him a good resting place." "Thank you, Fugaku." With her words said, she picked Naruto up and held the hands of Miura, who was wiping away her tears while her Sharingan deactivated. Shisui was on the roof overlooking everything while keeping his emotions in check, not allowing the tears he wanted to fall to be shown to the world. He was with his friend Itachi. It was then spoken. "Now do you see? We're clearly not welcomed. They only wish to see us dead. But we must protect the leaf. We're shinobis of the village, hidden in the leaves. And as an Anbu captain, I will do my duty to the end," Itachi said emotionlessly. Shisui looked at Itachi with sadness. He just couldn't understand why his friends would want to protect people like this. "Well, you do that." Shisui got up and walked to the edge of the roof. "I will not throw away my life for people like this." The messy-haired boy then left in his signature body flicker. Itachi just watched as his friend left and let a small frown tug on his lips. He only hoped that he took his advice and left this place before it was too late. Midnight. "Are you all ready?" Fugaku asked, looking at his clansmen who would be the distraction for the last time. "Yes, we are," they all answered resolutely. He smiled proudly towards them. "I will see you on the other side." He gave them all a bow and left for his house in a body flicker to wait for his son. The Uchihas left the shrine and waited for Itachi to arrive. Outside Madara's hideout. "It's time," Naruto said, looking over the Uchihas who would be leaving the village. It was 70 in total. 50 of them were all ninja, while 10 were children and babies, and the other 10 Uchiha civilians. "Let's move out," Shisui quietly said, and began to run through the forest with the Uchiha soldiers who would go ahead and make sure the path was clear. And like that, the Uchiha began to flee the village on a path straight for the Mist Village. Uchiha Gates. Itachi walked up to the gates in his Anbu gear with his sword drawn and ready to kill. "Let's get this over with." Itachi walked into the gates, but he wasn't expecting to be met with the hateful eyes of his clan. Madara's hideout. Naruto got a good distance away and activated all the paper bomb seals he had placed in the base. Having grabbed everything of importance, he felt there was no need to keep it standing anymore. Right when he was about to activate the seal, he saw a swirling vortex open and watched as someone in an orange mask and long hair appeared. Naruto activated his Mangekyo to get a better look on the person. That was when he felt his eyes tingle and he unknowingly copied the ability of the man's Sharingan. Alright, this is stupid. That one's dumb. No, that's just stupid. You don't copy Mangekyo Sharingan abilities. Alright, whatever. Naruto didn't know who this was, but if he knew about this place, then it was best if they didn't breathe anymore. So he finished his hand seal and watched as the place went up in explosions that would no doubt wake up the entire village. The strange thing, however, was that the person only phased through everything as one and was untouched, which shocked Naruto. Naruto. He was pulled back to attention when his name was called. Now that you blew that place up, the village will no doubt send ninjas to investigate, so we will have to pick up the pace. Right, but I was looking for Fugaku and his wife, but I didn't see them. Naruto looked over the Uchiha once again to see if he had just missed them. He couldn't even see the daughter, Satsuki. His heart then dropped. Mom, where's Satsuki? Nari looked confused and searched for the head family, but she didn't find them. Oh no. Uchiha compound. Itachi was crouched on a street pole and covered in the blood of his clan. He looked around for who caused that giant explosion. That was when he saw his sister running back to the house in a panic. Oh man, what is going on? Satsuki said in a panic while running back home. She was out training late and then she heard the explosion and ran back home. Itachi looked down on his sister with hidden sadness. He hated what he was going to do, having found out that Shisui must have told the clan about what he was going to do and escaped with the rest. Itachi would not follow them since he would not be able to kill them anyways if Shisui was there. He then moved to his home, missing the look his sister cast to the street pole. Itachi's house. Itachi was in the dojo of his home, with his blade shaking and tears falling from his eyes, while he gritted his teeth in sadness. Don't fear it, son. Our pain will be over quickly compared to yours. Fugaku spoke sagely to his son while he held his wife's hand. Just take care of your sister, Itachi. Mikoto said, not showing how much this was tearing her apart. I will, Itachi said and cut his parents down and watched as their dying bodies fell on top of each other. Itachi fixed his crying face and got his emotions in check. He could feel his little sister coming. Satsuki opened the door with tears coming from her eyes. Big brother, what happened? Who did this? The girl cried about to rush over until she was stopped by a kunai slicing her cheek. Foolish little sister. Isn't it obvious? I did. Itachi spoke in a cold tone. Why would you do that? She yelled angrily. To test myself. I need to see how strong I am. How could you do something like that? Like this, Itachi activated his newly awakened Mangekyo he got from killing his parents and clan. He then looked the sister in the eyes and used Tsukiyomi to force her to watch him and them and the clan. However, he didn't just make her watch. Itachi told her about the other half of the clan leaving her behind and that it was all her idol's fault. Naruto Uchiha. Satsuki screamed out, and this trauma forced his eyes to awaken into a One Tomoe Sharingan. The girl then fell to the ground after having watched her own brother kill her clan along with being abandoned. Itachi left her with the final words. When you pass the same eyes as me. Itachi showed her his Mangekyo. You will get these once you have killed those who abandoned you. Come face me and avenge the clan. Itachi was going to have Satsuki kill those who escaped since there was no doubt in his mind that the others would want to strike back and destroy the leaf. Satsuki fell to the ground unconscious and Itachi left the house and went to check if Madara had kept his word. If the dead Uchiha police force was anything to go by, then he guessed it was a success. Outside the leaf. Naruto was running through the forest with the rest of his clan. They made it out the village undetected and it was looking like a clear path to the Mist village. He was just worried about what would happen to the clan head's family. They would most likely die if they weren't dead already. Not to mention they forgot Satsuki. He wanted to go back and look for her, but that would only lead him to being captured or worse, and the clan members did not want that. Naruto just hoped that everything worked out and this would all lead to a better future. That's where I'm gonna end it, guys. I hope you've all enjoyed and I'll catch you guys in the next video.